Bob Dylan arrived in New York City in January of 1961, carrying almost nothing that could guarantee a future. He was 20 years old and completely unknown. No audience, no reputation, no certainty that staying would be worth the cost. He carried a guitar, a small notebook filled with unfinished lyrics, and a belief that was difficult to explain even to himself. A belief that something important was waiting for him in this city, even if the city had no idea who he was. New York, in the early 1960s, was not welcoming. It was crowded, loud, and expensive. A city shaped by movement and impatience. If you arrived without money or connections, it offered no sympathy. Dylan came from Minnesota, leaving behind familiarity and safety. He did not arrive with a strategy or a clear plan. He arrived because staying where he was felt like disappearing slowly. Like many young artists before him, he reshaped his own story. He spoke about the road, about experience, about having seen more of the world than he actually had. Some of those stories were true. Some were exaggerated. Some were invented. But in New York, reinvention was not deception. It was survival. The city allowed you to become whoever you could convince others you were. New York did not care about promises or intentions. It only cared about endurance. Dylan slept wherever he could find space. On friends' couches, in temporary rooms with unreliable heat, in places that never felt permanent enough to settle into. Winter in New York has a way of testing resolve quickly. Cold mornings, long walks, hands numb from the wind, too much silence between attempts. Each day felt uncertain. Each night felt unfinished. Greenwich Village was not famous yet. It was not a tourist destination or a cultural landmark. It was a neighborhood filled with people trying to survive through creativity. Musicians, poets, painters, writers. Most of them were broke. Most of them were unknown. All of them were hoping that the city would eventually notice. Coffee houses were small and crowded. Stages were barely raised above the floor. The pay when it existed was symbolic rather than practical. Still, Dylan played. Night after night, he stood in front of strangers. Some listened, some talked through his songs, some barely noticed he was there at all. He played traditional folk songs, old blues melodies passed down through generations, music shaped by voices that came before him. He watched other musicians closely, listened more than he spoke, observed how they held attention, how they lost it. New York became his classroom, not through instruction, but through repetition, failure, observation, patience. One small apartment became central to his life, not because it was comfortable or beautiful, but because it was quiet. Bare walls, a narrow bed, a small table, a chair near the window, a guitar resting in the corner. This was where songs took shape slowly, without pressure, without expectations, without an audience. Outside, the city moved relentlessly forward. Traffic, footsteps, voices, endless motion. Inside, time slowed. He wrote constantly. Lyrics filled with questions, with injustice, with loneliness, with people who felt invisible in a crowded world. At the time, no one was waiting for these songs. No one knew they would matter. Not even him. Dylan performed anywhere that would let him in. Basements, tiny clubs, rooms filled with half-interested faces. Some nights ended with polite applause. Most ended with silence. When the music stopped, he walked home alone. Past lit windows, past people who seemed to know exactly where they were going. New York can feel isolating when you do not belong yet. Millions of lives moving around you, and no one knows your name. There were moments when leaving felt logical, when returning home felt safer, easier, more reasonable. But New York does not confront people directly. It waits. It waits to see who stays when nothing happens. Weeks passed, then months. Progress did not announce itself. It whispered. He met other musicians, writers, people who believed that words mattered, that songs could carry meaning. Conversations stretched late into the night. Ideas collided, lyrics sharpened, perspectives widened. Still, nothing happened quickly. In New York, success rarely arrives all at once. It arrives in fragments. A stronger performance, a better reaction. A listener who stayed quiet instead of walking away. Dylan continued walking the same streets, continued riding in the same room, continued playing for rooms that barely noticed him. Then came moments that did not feel historic at the time. A song that landed differently. A listener who paid attention. An introduction that mattered. No celebration followed. No announcement. No instant transformation. Just momentum. The apartment did not change. The city did not soften. But something inside him shifted. The songs grew sharper. The voice more confident. The sense of direction clearer. He was not famous yet, but he was no longer invisible. New York had tested him, and he had stayed. Opportunities followed slowly. Recordings. Recognition. A name people began to repeat. The city did not pause to acknowledge it. Its never door's history would remember him, but New York would remain unchanged. Crowded, loud, indifferent. That building still stands today. People walk past it without slowing down. They check their phones. They rush to work. They move forward without looking back. Inside those walls were nights of doubt, of hunger, of persistence. Before fame, before recognition, before anyone cared. New York did not create the legend. It tested him first. And that is the part most stories leave out. Because before records, before awards, before history, there was just a young man in New York City, trying not to disappear. And the city watched quietly, as it always does.